It never happens at a good time. The pipe bursts at midnight. The heater quits on the coldest night. Suddenly, you're overwhelmed. That's when HomeServe is here. For $4.99 a month, you're never alone. Just call their 24/7 hotline and a local pro is on the way. Trusted by millions, HomeServe delivers peace of mind when you need it most. For plans starting at just $4.99 a month, go to homeserve.com. That's homeserve.com. Not available everywhere. Most plans range between $4.99 to $11.99 a month your first year. Terms apply on covered repairs.
Welcome to Car Con Carne. I'm James Van Osdell, and this is episode 783. Heading closer really quickly to episode 800. And Car Con Carne tonight is sponsored by Sopel Solar. Now's the time. The year is winding down, which seems weird to say, but the year is winding down, which means the tax credits you can get from switching to solar will expire by the end of the year. They'll go away. Between federal and local tax credits, you can save over 45% on getting solar installed at your place. Achieve cost certainty for what may be the first time ever. Brent Sopel, former Chicago Blackhawk, amazing hockey player, is going to help you get there. Go to his website, Sopel, S-O-P-E-L, solar.com. Fill out the form. You'll get an evaluation. If you go solar, nothing out of pocket, and you can start saving right after the panels are installed. SopelSolar.com.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Osdell.
Car Con Carne is also sponsored by this book, 90 Days in the 90s, written by my friend Andy Fry. It is 90 Days in the 90s, a rock and roll time travel story, the ultimate novel about the 90s music scene here in Chicago, which was pretty awesome and worthy of an awesome fiction book. Join record store owner Darby as she heads back to the 90s through the magic of the Gray Line, time-traveling CTA train that takes her back to her carefree 20s. She soaks everything up, the pop culture and all the nostalgia you could ever imagine. Imagine going back and seeing some of those shows at places like Lounge Acts and Metro back in the 90s. If you want to learn more, if you want to get a copy of this book signed, go to 90daysinthe90s.com. Or if you just want a copy of the book, period, go to Amazon or wherever you buy books.
I'm feeling great. Let's do it. I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling great, too. The Toadies are back in Chicago. Toadies are back this Sunday. It's the Rubberneck 25th anniversary show. Never too late for the 25th anniversary. Former Car Con Carne guest, the Reverend Horton Heat, also on the bill, playing liquor in the front, poker in the back. The Toadies this Sunday. Doni Blair, the bassist for the Toadies, is joining me over the phone. And let's start with Rubberneck. 25th anniversary came out in 1994. The anniversary tour obviously sidelined by the pandemic.
Yeah.
How does it feel to get out and actually get this done now?
God, amazing. It's just one of those things that we, like our singer Vaden says every night, we don't know if any of this would ever happen again. I think
Right.
bands didn't think it. The audience definitely. I mean, me as an audience member, like, well, shows are gone. No one knew, and we've all gone through the same thing. We all had our own fears, our own anxieties. And I think with musicians, especially, we all had our own anxieties of God, even if it does come back, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? And it's just, it was one of those things that we just had to keep delaying it a few times just to make it safe. We didn't feel right going out and giving people a thing to get together when there wasn't good ways to actually gather at that
Right.
point. It was still up in the air, And then I think it was starting to look a little bit better. And then Omicron decides to run down and have its way with everybody, and that didn't feel right either. So we're I was just talking to Clark about this. We're lucky that we made a hard decision, but we did it for everyone and our own safety. And now people are coming out. We were afraid that even if we did go out, people wouldn't care. Like, forget those guys. But they're actually coming out in droves. And tonight we're in Kansas City. It's sold out.
Yeah.
Metro is already sold out. I
Right.
mean, that's amazing. God, I mean, we love Chicago so much,
Well, I mean, Chicago loves
especially the
you,
Metro.
and I mean the impact that Rubberneck had back then and continues to have. I mean, I remember this was before you joined the band, obviously, but I mean, back in the day, Toadies were opening up for the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the United Center. I mean, that
Yeah,
tour, like it was this never-ending tour, and it was just massive. I mean, the second you would hear like "Away" or "I Come from the Water," I mean, game over in that room. I'm sure it's the
yeah,
same
and
now.
it is, and that's kind of what people are doing now. And it's to see them, when we go into those songs right now, and they start just kind of freaking out, and it's just fun to see that. It's fun to see that in their eyes and in their faces, like, oh wow, they're playing it. They're playing this song. This is so cool.
Well, I mentioned that you joined the band later in life. You're still technically the new guy, even though it's going on like 15
Yes.
years.
Yes.
What was your relationship to that album before you joined the band? Like as a fan, as a fellow musician, how did you perceive
Oh,
that?
yeah. I mean, I bought it the same as everybody else did. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things of I bought it as a fan myself. We would play shows with the guys back in the day. Like my brother and I had a band called Hagfish that we would. Sometimes it would be us and the Toadies in the audience watching
Hag-
each other's bands. We were already a fan because we had all their tapes. We had the Dig a Hole, Hope You Die. We had the Pleather CD. We had Velvet tape, everything. And then when Rubberneck came out, we just couldn't believe how freaking good it was. Like, holy shit, did they make a great record? Right from the minute, right from the word go. They accomplished their goal.
You mentioned Hagfish. For my money, Stamp is probably the best song about cunnilingus I ever played on the radio back in the day.
Well, thank you very much. We tried.
And oh my God,
It's
to go back to those days in radio, back when Rubberneck was new, back when Hagfish was doing its thing, like radio felt dangerous and edgy and like it didn't give a fuck back then. I miss those days.
me too. People weren't, they weren't offended as easily about anything. I mean, I got my start. You're right. That's how I got my start. A song about cunnilingus, or Colonel-lingus, whichever one you want to call it. But I mean, Q101 played it.
Yep.
All up the West Coast, they played it. We were going into these cities with, I mean, can we go blue on this, by the way?
I think I already said fucking cunnilingus, so all bets are off.
Yes. All right. Well, we were basically just, my brother and I were two dipshits from a fucking podunk town in North Texas, and to go into Chicago and golly, Chicago, and then people like our band, it was just amazing, So, and have that with all of our other friends' bands, with definitely the Toadies, Course of Empire, and Tripping Daisy, and Reverend Heat. We're all kind of doing it, and again, all of us were just dipshits from Texas, and we're all getting signed to major labels. We're all packing these places out. And it was kind of like, we couldn't believe we were doing this shit. None of us would see each other on the road. And then we go back home and see each other and hang out. Like, what the fuck? Can you believe this?
Well, it's so funny that was happening in Texas, because we had the same thing happening in Chicago, probably a year or two ahead of what was going on there. But it was the same thing here. Everybody was getting signed. Everyone from the scene would see each other in St. Louis, Kansas City, Los Angeles, because they would all like crisscross getting signed to Capitol and Sony and Island, like the same thing. And to your point, like Tripping Daisy and Course of Empire and Toadies, it was the same exact situation in a couple of those big markets.
Well, and you also had a great scene here with just, I mean, obviously Local H. They're some of our good friends that we toured with. God, Triple Fast Action.
Sure.
That band was amazing. Smoking Popes. Talk about an amazing
I'm getting
band,
chills. Those were the days.
Well, and my brother's band that he's with now, Rise Against, they're from Chicago, So you've got a great history. And I've always had the best time in Chicago. So it's just one of those things that we're just stoked to be a good part of, So
Well, you're from Texas. People from Texas know how to eat, and people in Chicago want to feed people who aren't from Chicago. So it works out beautifully.
It really does. It really does. I mean, as long as there's Wrigleyville, we're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care.
You mentioned Vaden, the front man, person of
Toadies. Yes, sir. Yeah.
That voice is one of a kind.
Oh my God.
What's it like performing with that dude on stage?
It's fantastic because I will have, well, I mean, I guess it's hearing that in my ears because we're all on in-ears, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I have him screaming, to I Burn. And then I've got Clark on the other side killing it. He does the same thing perfect every night without fail. And then the best thing of all is I have fucking Mark Resnicek, I have his kick drum in my head and his drums. And it's just like, wow, I can't even believe I'm part of this band. It's a really nice thing for me, night after night after night. But my brother was actually talking to Walter Schweifels from Quicksand, and Walter was talking about he had seen some videos of ours recently, and he was marveling at how well Vaden's voice sounds. And it sounds amazing, night after night after night, still the same. I mean, guys that have been doing it as long as him, their voices don't sound that good.
Right.
They really don't.
Time takes a toll on all of us, except for Vaden, because he's supernatural.
I think so, dude. I'm always telling him, like, your voice sounds amazing, dude. Oh, thanks. And he's just like, oh, I appreciate it. Like, no, I don't think you understand how rare that is. I don't think he gets it at all. But, oh, well, it's a truly awesome thing to hear that night after night after night.
So as you're touring behind Rubberneck for the 25th anniversary, the Toadies gave us a little something to tide us over, the Damn You All to Hell EP, which basically songs that didn't fit the last full album, which came out 5 years ago. I love it. There's a great down-tempo song on this EP called Deep, Deep Water. It is a down-tempo song, but it is still so distinctly and very Toadies.
Yes. Isn't it a cool song?
Love that.
When he sent us the demo for that, like, this is so cool and just something different, and I think it was one of those that we just kind of leaned into just to do something different because we'd already done Heretics, right. And I think doing play rock music with some of the songs, like Epic Castles and Laments of a Good Man, kind of broke open the door for us to try different things, And I think Deep, Deep Water is just a perfect example of that, of like, well, who's to say what it all has to sound like? It doesn't have to sound just loud rock, Heretics is, I love that record so much. And I think that broke it open for all of us, and now we've got a lot of new stuff for the next record we're going to make.
I mean, that's the obvious next question is, where do you go from here? This is like a teaser. This is an appetizer at this point. Forgiven, a great slow burning song on the EP, but I can't help but zero in on the cover. And I know Toadies do covers. I Put a Spell on You, Heart of Glass, Sound and Vision. Covering David Bowie feels like a ballsy move.
Yeah. Well, Rez, our drummer, is the world's biggest Bowie fan. And it felt like it wasn't a verse, chorus, verse song, Mm-hmm. It was kind of out there and really weird and didn't fit into anything. So it's like us, we're like, well, that's a song for us to cover.
Here I am calling a Bowie cover ballsy, but you covered I Put a Spell on You, which is a courageous choice as well.
Yeah, we do that every night. We play that song every night. And it's funny how we will start it. Whenever Vaden sings the first line, people kind of lose their shit, And that's kind of the things we've got an idea for a couple of covers for the next record that we might do. We're playing new songs every night. I think tonight we might be playing 3 new songs. I don't know. We've got it all ready to go. We've got about maybe 7, 8 songs that we've demoed up that are just mind blowing. We just love them. They're so good. You know, we can't wait. Cannot wait.
You mentioned play rock music. That was when you joined.
Yeah.
Rattler's Revival, still a Toadies live staple. I still love Summer of the Strange.
We were talking about doing that again, putting it in the set, and it was just it's a fun song to play. Rez and I get to lock in on that and just kind of create a hammer of doom. You know, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, you set that kind of creepy tone in the beginning.
Well, thank you. It was a Rickenbacker with flat wounds on that. It was weird. We had rented it and tuned it down and just played that. I'm like, Mom, this is cool. You know, just something completely different. So it is a weird song.
This is kind of a weird interview to do because, like you said, the Metro show is sold out on Sunday. This is really just a life-affirming chat that the Toadies are here kicking ass, and there's more new music on the way. Like, we can't sell tickets tonight by talking in this podcast. This is really like a ceremonial interview, if nothing else. But I did wanted to ask you real quick before you go, and I know you've got scant minutes before Toadies take the stage. You're a comic book nerd.
Total comic book nerd. I mean, my dad would he wouldn't read my brother and I like bedtime stories. He'd read us comics like King Conan or Doctor Strange. Not like even like DC. It would be like weird shit like Jonah Hex, which is DC, but who the fuck reads Jonah Hex to their kids? Right. You know, it was.
And for the record, Jonah Hex is a disfigured character from the Old West. Just hideously deformed,
bounty hunter,
anti-hero.
Or warlord, all that kind of shit. My dad likes the weird stuff, or Ghost Rider. Like, okay, Dad, thanks for reading this comic about a satanic biker, but it's the kind of shit he liked, and so it's something from like the time of 4 or 5. That's what we were going to sleep with. Like, well, that's normal, right? No, okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, starting at that age, I think I learned how to read, no joke, through reading comic books. My parents would take me to the drugstore or whatever, and I'd grab stuff off the spinner rack, and that's how I mean, some of the biggest words in my vocabulary, I think I learned from reading Marvel comics as a small child. I'm convinced of it.
Oh, I know I did. I learned about biofeedback and telekinesis and magnetism and, what telepathy was or robotics. Like, I mean, 7-year-olds didn't normally know that shit. None of my other friends did,
I learned chemistry. I learned chemistry from the Metal Men.
Oh, Metal Men were badass. Yeah. So Metal Men were awesome.
I ask you all this because I'm at this point as an adult where I'm like, I really need to kind of catalog my collection. Have you done that?
God, no. Well, Rez has, because he's that guy.
I think I'm that guy too.
Oh yeah, Rez's collection is insane. Mine, I will go through phases where I'll just collect, and then I've broken it up into different ones of more Westerns and martial arts, and then just other graphic novels and certain things that I have. And collecting stuff like that I had back when I was collecting like in the 80s, like that Son of the Demon. You know what I mean? How amazing is that?
So amazing.
So good. It's just so well written. The art was amazing.
And we're talking Batman stuff here.
Yes, sorry about that. I should have. I mean,
Ra's al Ghul stuff.
Yeah. If I'm talking to a nerd, you already know. Like, you don't have to. But I forget, we have to explain it for the norms that we're talking about Batman. But now Ed Brubaker's my favorite.
Oh my God!
I mean, and we lost Darwin Cook, which is just so fucking sad.
So Brubaker's a writer. Darwin Cook was a writer and an artist, and one of the coolest, most highly stylized artists of the past 30 years.
Oh my God! Well, you know what? One of the band's friends, and he did the artwork for our last record, is Michael Lark, who did, I just read the first edition of GCPD with him and Brubaker. Mm-hmm. And now they're turning it like into a show for HBO, which is going to be amazing.
Totally agree.
And Michael's one of the nicest people, and to have that guy do his art on our stuff, that's amazing. You know, he's so good. That run he did with Daredevil, where Daredevil goes to prison, that's all him and Brubaker, you know? Yeah. So reading that, like, holy shit, that guy worked on our record, you know?
It's so cool. All right, I'm going to let you bring the rock. The Rubberneck tour doesn't stop for a podcast. You got to do your thing. The Toadies back in Chicago Sunday night at Metro. Doni from the Toadies, thank you very much. This is Car Con Carne, sponsored by Simple Solar.